And he's a big fan of bodyweight exercises. I know I go on about them all the time to the point like, Simon, calm down. You're not married to them. And I would do. I asked and they said no. And as always, you just back off at that stage. You're like, all right, I will now go mourn and eat a bunch of ice cream. So I'm in the middle of the bald a-hole here, and I'm actually worried about today's video. Because anytime, two things are going to happen. We talk about Athlean-X. One, everyone has to talk about fake weights. I've talked about it before. Go watch the video. And two, I get the classic comment, oh, look at Feynman trying to leech off other people's popularity and success. I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing a little bit, but it's not intentional. I just, I did that one video where I saw the V-shred stuff and thought, man, I misspoke. I misspoke about V-shred, so I had to correct myself. And then I had a load of comments saying, oh, Miller, you should do this for other YouTubers. And I was like, all right, cool. So there is a little element of that, but I'm just trying to have fun. And here's an amazing piece of advice. You can take your hand, put it on your mouth and go click, and I vanish. It's like I'm not even real. Anyway, yes, I've done another one of these. I'll make sure there's videos on the screen. If I forget, probably will. And it's just basically, should you listen to them series? We've done, who have we done? We've done V-Shred, we've done Will Tennyson, we've done my man Greg Doucette, and today, yes, we're going to do Athlean-X, because again, as I always say, in the comments below, you tell me who you want to do, and we'll do it. Now, the good thing about Athlean-X is that I've been watching his videos for ages. He was one of the first guys that I found. We're going to go through the latest video that he did. It came out 18 hours ago. There you go. So I watched it. Here's my take on the situation, because I know that's what people are going to want mostly. You have to make up your mind whether you think he's lifting fake weights or not. And then you need to take the information and decide how you want to then use it in terms of listening to his advice. But in terms of that advice that he's putting out there, in terms of his education, in terms of his science, I think he's spot on. The guy 100% knows what he's talking about. It all really comes down to, do you like his approach? And as long as you like his approach, I would absolutely say you should listen to Athlean-X. Now, I understand if you now can't trust him because you feel like, oh, he's lifting fake weights, but then just don't buy any of his stuff. That's the best thing to do. Don't buy any of his stuff, and it makes no difference, because I tell you, in terms of my admittedly crappy opinion, I think he's got it spot on, because he says stuff like this.
You see, if you want to build your biggest triceps, you're going to want to have a dedicated triceps training day each week. Now, let's say you're following a push-pull leg split or a total body split. You're likely relegating whatever tricep work you do to the end of those workouts, and rightly so, focusing instead on those bigger compound movements.
Now, when I first saw that, I thought that's crazy. It's like you're telling people to just work triceps on one day. I think how big your back is and your chest to a lesser extent, your legs and back are the big ones. And you want to, focus it just on that. But as he goes on to say, and this is the thing with all his videos, he always tailor makes it and specifies it for a specific audience. He says, if you're looking to build your triceps. That's his whole point. He goes, if your goal right now is to build your triceps, the number one thing you can do is build your triceps by focusing on a singular day a week. And he gives you some exercises, but he also lets you know that it's going to help you with your other lifts. Because, if you get bigger triceps, all of your push exercises, you're going to go up in terms of strength and form and reps and whatever. Because, of course, you're going to have bigger triceps. So as soon as I heard that, I was just like, it's so, so good. He's not saying that everyone should do this. He even has advice for people that are doing the bro split, as he calls it. So you're working, a body part a day, and he comes up with these tricep finishes. And somehow he even ties it into back. And even like, you're tying it into back. And then he said it, I was like, of course you're tying it into back. See, the dude's educated.
All right, so who knew that it even mattered what you did for back day when we're talking about growing bigger triceps? But it does, because if you realize that both the back and the triceps are in the same anatomical ballpark, then the possibility for overdoing it and not allowing for enough recovery in your triceps is a real thing.
And isn't he right? Isn't that just so true? Like, I remember when I first started working out, I would really struggle with that. There'd be some exercises that I should come up with examples, but I can't think of any now, where I just trained, the deadlift, for example, that's a good one. Again, this is proper me being stupid, but if I had done legs on a Monday and then I wanted to do back on a Tuesday and work in deadlifts, I was like, how do I do this? Because my legs are killing from Monday. Am I doing it wrong? I just wasn't thinking right. And of course, you just have to be smart with how you plan in your recovery days and how you plan in your split. For example, if you are doing, let's say you're doing a dedicated shoulder day, right? And you're doing, back and triceps and, chest and tris and back and bis, right? You want to move that shoulder exercise that day to Wednesday, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday, do your other push stuff. Tuesday, do your pull stuff, just so you've got that extra day in between. I'd actually leave it a day longer, but you have to listen to your body to get that recovery in. And it's so important. And again, like I say, no one would ever think, well, I've worked back. There's no reason I can't work triceps. But there is. And he breaks it down. He explains it to you why. I just think he's good at what he does. Hence why he's got like 72 million subscribers.
Except you never want to overlook the versatility and the effectiveness of the simple push-up exercise. But realize we can take it a step further. You see, we can change how we do the exercise and place more of the stress very easily onto the triceps. And in doing so, we don't just have a body weight, do anywhere option with a lot of variety at our disposal, but we have something that's going to allow us to generate a lot of volume.
And he's a big fan of bodyweight exercises. I know I go on about them all the time to the point like, Simon, calm down, you're not married to them. And I would do. I asked and they said no. And as always, you just back off at that stage. And like, all right, I will now go more and eat a bunch of ice cream. But, you know, he talks about push-ups, how important they are for your triceps, and then he shows you a bunch of variations. He's doing those weird lion push-ups over there called where you kind of act like a seal that's fallen out of water, and it's like, that looks a bit weird. But they are great. If you don't know, I am a kind of a wrestler. It's closed down here in the UK, but I am in theory. And that's something that they really, really push hard just because it's actually quite a, you know, if you've done a bunch of squats and pull-ups and everything else, it absolutely kick your ass in terms of a conditioning thing. But it does slam your triceps so hard. That's kind of something I miss. It was a great extra way to get some exercise in. But yeah, bodyweight exercises are great because you are your own weight. And it means no matter where you are, as long as you've got the right kind of equipment, you can get a good workout in. And in this case, actually tailor make it so that you're hitting your triceps. So if you are happy with your chest, you don't need to go anywhere. You can just do it on the floor. And 99.9% everybody has a floor, unless you're like lost in the phantom zone. So I'm pretty sure in the phantom zone, like General Zod, you just kind of hover around the place.
So no matter what exercise you're doing that works the medial lateral head, you're going to want to make sure you take advantage of the full range of motion that the joint offers. So if you're doing a close grip bench press, you don't stop a little bit short, you go all the way to extension. You don't do a tricep push down like this, you go all the way to extension.
Now he's talking about full range of motion, something that is still so overlooked. You know, most videos will just tell you strength, 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 lift heavy, lift heavy, lift heavy. Or actually, in many cases, you can drop it by 50%, I would say, as long as you can get that full extension. If we're talking about triceps here, so you want to get that horseshoe look. Time and attention, form, all of these amazing things. I've watched so many people that we're going to talk about. They're all in the can. You'll see them soon enough. Where it's just like, well, that's a bit of a weird way to look at it. And there's nothing wrong with doing partial reps at the end of it. You know, partial rep is literally how it sounds. You know, if that's a full rep, I don't know what exercise that is, slam someone you don't like on the head. But if that's a full rep, if you've done 12 and you're starting to fatigue, then sure, you can go like that and do less. But if you start off doing that, well, you're doing yourself a disservice. And again, it's because so many people focus on strength, we need this. And of course, strength is important. It's a good barometer, if nothing else. If your strength is going up, and even if you don't see it with your eyes, because sometimes it can be hard, it stands to reason you're probably getting bigger, kinda. It doesn't always work that way, but it is kind of one-to-one. And here he's, you know, not one point has he pushed strength, and not one point has he pushed weight. Before he even gets there, he's like form, range of motion, form, range of motion. And that's why, even with all the controversy, be it true or not, you can still take away so much good stuff from his videos, and hopefully even sort of restart your training today if you weren't doing it already.
If you're seeking bigger triceps, you better find a way to include kickbacks in your routine. And that's because it places the tricep in its most contracted state, with the arms straightened out and back behind our body. Just because you're relegated to this side of the dumbbell rack for the 5s, 10s, or 15s to do it, if you throw out the concept of caring about what the number says on the side of the dumbbell and only focus on the tension that it delivers, you will realize quickly that this is one of the only exercise options that provides this benefit.
What did I just say? He just doubled down on it. Now, I hate tricep kickbacks or dumbbell kickbacks, whatever you want to call them, for that very reason. I find them uncomfortable. But I started liking them when I had this epiphany a few years ago. I was like, wait, maybe I should cut my weight in half and, you know, get that time under tension by actually holding it and squeezing it. And now I don't do them a lot again because they're not one of my favorite exercises. And I tend to, as you should always, I tend to go for the ones I actually enjoy doing because I'm more likely to push myself. But if you do want to change things up and you haven't been able to do it to this point, that's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. And that's the way it should be with every exercise. Like another one, I don't mean to go off track, is the lateral raise. I see people in the gym and they're lifting, you know, 28, 30 kilograms on a lateral raise, which I think is a lot. But they're going like this. You know, like they're trying to take off, like they think they've got wings. It's like, drop it down to 12 kilograms, 14 kilograms, go all the way up. They ignore my form. I don't want my arms to go out the camera. But, you know, go all the way up, and it's still so hard to fight it. But that is when you can go to high rep ranges, right? You can get into that 18, 20 rep range. You're like, okay, well, I'm not doing the tension part of the top of the movement isn't as squeezed as I'd like, but I'm still doing time under tension because, again, I'm gone from doing 4 to 6 reps to 20 reps, and that's just an increase of time. It's basic maths.
When it comes to building big triceps, perhaps more important than in any other muscle group you'll train, The triceps are composed of the highest proportion of fast twitch type 2 fibers, which means that they are going to respond best to the use of heavy weights.
And then that's when he gets to the weight stuff. We are 8 minutes into this video, and that's when he starts talking about strength. Athlean-X is awesome when it comes to science. He always backs it up. He talks about muscle fibers and how they're going to work and why you do need to ensure that you're training heavy on triceps. But again, you do not have to. Like, it's not a law. No policeman's going to burst into the gym and go, "Oh, just stick up," and you'll get arrested. "What did I do, man? What did I do?" You'll be like, "You didn't train your triceps heavy." And there'll be a moment you think, "What the flub is that?" But there is going to be benefit there. And he gets down into it. He talks about dips, weighted dips. There's a close grip bench press, a bunch of other exercises that you can actually look and mimic. And that's something that I desperately need to do more of, but he's got his own gym, which makes it easier. It's very hard to film in my gym. But, you know, those kind of visual representations do help. And if we are talking about YouTube guys, whether they're good, they're bad, or indifferent, that to me is also an extra tick in the box.
So look, it should come as no surprise when you're trying to build a muscle bigger, you want that muscle to actually do the brunt of the work, not to offload it to another muscle instead. Well, when it comes to the triceps, the muscle group that tends to take over too early or too often is the forearms, especially if you look at an exercise like the tricep pushdown. As we try to get down to that full extension that we already talked about was so important, it's easy to see how the wrist flexing are going to help you feel as if you're getting that bar down further.
It even talks about wrists and what you should do with your wrist. I mean, who gets into wrists? I have never even thought about my wrist, ever. Apart from when it hurts. I'm like, ow, my wrist. And I walk on to something else. But Athlean-X is here, is letting you know that sometimes your damn forearm and your damn wrist are getting in the way of your tricep. So, yes, I do think you should listen to him. What stupid thing to say? Again, the man literally has 10.7 million subscribers. So why a bald a-hole needs to sit here and go, "Oh, so I thought you should listen to him." But again, I said I was going to do this series, and I bowed to you guys, and his name came up around about 7,000 times. So let's not say I'd ever do it. Do I think he lifts fake weights? Again, I just don't care. I just don't care. I've never felt like he's trying to sell me anything, so I don't feel like I've been ripped off. You know, if that was a thing, he's like, "I can guarantee you'll lift the same weight as me if you give me $100. I'd be like, "Wait a minute, that's a bit of a strange thing." But I just find that I've managed to suck in so much information without paying $1 that I kind of feel bad just ragging on him. Doesn't mean there's not a conversation to be had, and we've had those conversations. It's just not for this video. Now, please, in the comments below, who else should I check out? I've already got a bunch, but keep giving to me. Keep feeding the machine, and I will do what I can. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, ding, ding. Click the other video on the screen if you want to carry on in my stupid journey. I've got merchandise, simonmiller.bigcartel.com. Got a Patreon, which is how I fund all of this, patreon.com/Simon316. Just go in the description below. All the links are there, and for my Twitter and Instagram as well. But thank you as always. This one's going to be a blast. Going to keep an eye on that little dislike counter there. Oh no, thumbs down, but it's all good. I appreciate the engagement, and I'll see you soon.